Well, it's about time. The ONI Predator from Predator Killer of Killers has finally arrived in Predator Hunting Grounds, and upon his arrival he has brought a new weapon, a new form of invisibility cloak that causes FPS drops every time you use it, and some ridiculous fighting buffs that make playing Predator against a real high-level team even more of a masochism session than before. But, nonetheless, let's get into the rundown of how good ONI's stats are, and what his new weapon, the Chain Whip, is capable of. I'll put his in-game stats up on the screen here for you guys to look at. Also feel free to pause the video to read his character description if that's something you're interested in. As we can see here, ONI's specializations are Assassin, Disciplined, and Savage, so nothing too special there. Your best option is definitely Assassin, as it allows you to deal 20% increased damage to a fighting member if you hit them from behind.
Pause.
He has 14 gear points, which allows him to carry quite a solid amount of gear. You can't quite carry bear traps and drones alongside the healing kit at the same time, unfortunately, but you can run motion detectors alongside either the bear traps or drones, so overall he has pretty decent gear utility. For perk points he only has 10, which means you can't run the meta combination of large pouch medic and downrange, but you can run this combination here I have on screen with modified reserve as an alternative to downrange, which will have some good synergy with ONI's already large amount of energy, as he is now the Predator with the highest energy capacity in game. You could also alternatively use protection, and no, I don't mean GRX, instead of modified reserve if you wanted to make sure your biomass doesn't get destroyed by the fighting. Now for ONI's new weapon, the Chain Whip. Once again, feel free to pause the video to read the weapon description if you like. The Chain Whip is honestly probably one of the most innovative weapons that have been added to the game in its 5+ year lifetime, as you can quite literally pull a scorpion from Mortal Kombat and yank fighting members towards you from a distance.
Get over here!
Now what I will say is that this weapon is kind of slept on, as everyone I've seen using it so far has been using it pretty much just incorrectly per se in terms of what the best way to use it is in my experience. But I'll get into that in a little while. For now I will just show you guys what the Chain Whip is capable of, as it can be quite fun honestly. So obviously you can yank a fighting member towards you on level ground. Bear in mind that the fighting member is stunned for a little while after getting yanked by your Chain Whip, which gives you a window to deal damage. The whip also has a pretty decent range on it too, as you can see here. You can also pull people up into trees, although most of the time the trajectory of where the fighting member is going to go is a lot more unpredictable if you get them with it while in the trees. But they do take fall damage depending on how hard they've been yanked or how far they've been slingshotted. You can also still yank people with the whip if they are stuck in a bear trap, but just be aware that it does not cancel their interaction to get out of the trap. This is also the case if you hit a fighting member with it, either while they are reviving a teammate or being revived by another teammate for some stupid reason. Essentially, it just doesn't stop whatever interaction the fighting member was doing prior to getting hit with the Chain Whip. You also can, in fact, yank other predators while doing this thing in Clash. I unfortunately didn't collect any footage of it for this video, but I can 100% confirm it is possible, and it is rather amusing to witness. Now, here is one of the legitimate best ways to use the Chain Whip. In fact, it's probably the most effective use for it, and is where you use the Chain Whip to grab a fighting member and haul them into a bear trap, leaving them trapped, stunned, and very vulnerable to damage. After hauling a fighting member into a bear trap, you're going to want to follow it up with damage from your secondary weapon. Best option for this is the plasma pistol, and keep shooting them till they are downed and dead, of course. You could also try yanking a fighting member into a trap you placed down from being up in the trees, but like I said, the trajectory is way more unpredictable when yanking a fighting member from the trees, so it's a lot harder to toss them into a bear trap like this in practice. Another thing you can do is grab a fighting member and pull them both up surfaces and down surfaces. I'm sure you'll also be pleased to know you can grab pigs with the Chain Whip as well, but you can only do that when they are alive. It doesn't work when they are dead. So unfortunately we are still unable to move our pigs away from certain areas when the fighting decide to try and camp the pig spawns. But hey, why expect anything less in Ilphonic's fighting hunting grounds? Now moving on to my demonstration of the best ways to actually use the Chain Whip. This first example involves the animation cancel of the whip to quickly swap to the plasma pistol with a hotkey assigned by custom controls and begin shooting the fighting member while they are either mid-air and being hauled towards you, or while they are stunned after being yanked. You can also perform this animation cancel tech with the combi stick, but I don't recommend using the combi stick at the moment because Ilphonic are such incompetent morons that they have somehow caused a bug where the combi stick doesn't allow you to swap to another weapon quickly after throwing it, and it will also sometimes outright refuse to throw, and your predator will simply do an animation where they appear to slot their combi stick back into their backpack. They really can't stop castrating predators in this game. Though yes, the Chain Whip can be quite fun and effective, but I must make this disclaimer here. I attempted this in private matches against other proper high-level players, and it is not the most effective weapon by any means whatsoever. It is a lot harder than it looks or may otherwise appear to get value from it, and whenever you use the Chain Whip, You're practically guaranteed to be stuck in place whether you hit someone or not. So you'll either get lit up while stationary, or you'll get a vertical jump if you try to leap away. And against real high-level fire teams, they'll be lasering you out of the sky mid-air and while you drop back to the ground. Especially with the new recoil buffs that make it practically impossible for good fire team members to miss a damn shot. Once again, thanks to IllFonic and their utterly tone-deaf balance changes to their games that they never actually play themselves. I also don't know what the hell happened to the Viking/Brute Predator from Killer of Killers that they advertised being added to the game alongside ONI. Maybe they'll add him as the next DLC later down the line. But I find it rather amusing that they posted a coming soon teaser for it after the movie came out, and then they make us wait over 2 months just to release one, not two of them, but just one of the Predators they tease as coming to the game soon. It took these guys more than double the time to develop this DLC, so why didn't it come with both Preds and new weapons for both? Just ONI with a new weapon and a shitty cloak feature that literally just kills the FPS for anyone in the match whenever the Predator player uses their cloak while playing ONI. To be perfectly honest with you guys, the only reason I'm even sitting here and making this video right now, having bought the Pred, is because it's from a movie. And ONI also has good stats overall, but otherwise I probably wouldn't be buying into IllFonic's cash grab bullshit with this DLC and making this video. But yeah, so here's my honest thoughts about the actual DLC itself. ONI overall has good stats, he looks very faithful to his movie adaptation. In fact, I would say he even looks a lot better in-game than in the movie, even though he looks like a bit of a hunchback with the Part 3 Jason physique. His unmasked face also looks better in-game than it does in the movie, but still is a pretty stupid design choice to have no upper mandibles nonetheless. It just seems to be what happens when you give people like Dan Trachtenberg creative liberties over Predator designs nowadays. The chain whip weapon is also very fun to use, despite just obviously not being the most effective weapon against top tier fire teams. I just wouldn't recommend playing as ONI too much during this patch due to the ridiculous FPS drops it causes whenever you use his cloak. So overall, not too bad of a DLC, but would I ever recommend buying it? No. I will never recommend buying any product produced by IllFonic. But I also won't tell you guys how to spend your money, so if you fancy trying it out, feel free. I will upload another video soon showcasing all of ONI Predator's customizations for his biomask, predlocks, skin patterns, and armor styles, so stay tuned for that one. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I will see you in the hunting grounds next time. Happy hunting.